Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace, and to hang on to your children. Yes, you heard me right. We are fighting a government agency. Now, that doesn't mean all of CPS is bad. It's just that there's over 1,000 rogue CPS entities in some counties and states in the United States and around the world. Now, I'm glad that you found this live podcast. You found me on Facebook, How to Fight CPS. Now, I'm on this live stream. I keep saying podcast. It's not a podcast. It's a live stream because we interact. There's a chance for you to interact with your questions and answers and so forth. I'm on twice a day. I come on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. That's on the west coast of California. And then I'm on again at 7 p.m. in the evening. And again, that's on the Pacific Standard Time. Now, on the weekends, I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning, a couple hours earlier on Saturday and Sunday. Also during the week and sometimes other days, I'll let you know that I may be at a different time. But I've been doing this now for over 17 months. I started in October 2023, and I've done twice a day. I've not even done it. I've done it on holidays, on New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Day and 4th of July and all the holidays we have. I'm here. I'm here because I found a niche here to help others. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father and a husband. And I've raised 6 children. 3 of them are really grown up and have families of their own. My 3 youngest are the ones that I, too, had a CPS case. Now, I mentioned CPS. What does CPS really mean? Well, I call it the Child Protection Systems. Every state has counties, and every county will have a system that deals with protection of children from neglect and abuse. Congress enacted a law that told social services that they would form a group, and this group varies from state to state. It all deals with protecting our children from neglect and abuse. Further, they're supposed to help out families in need of food and shelter and clothing and transportation, medical and educational, and also help to find a job. Furthermore, if it's necessary to break apart the family, and that's the one that seems to be sticking a lot of times, they will do so only if there is danger to the child. If there's some type of danger that hurts the child or be detrimental to the child, they need to break up the family, but they need to try to do family reunification, meaning the parents can take classes and programs to better themselves or correct the faults that they exhibit through neglect and abuse. So this family reunification sometimes takes a year. The only problem being is that the agency's got a lot of say-so in the matter, meaning that there was an incentive law of 1994 signed by Bill Clinton that told that CPS could get additional compensation for having the children adopted into foster care. So that mainly eliminated family reunification. And so what's happened is that these rogue CPS entities are taking our children just by saying, we need to take your children. And you need to know the rules and the laws and so forth about them taking your children. Now, there's several ways that you can participate. Tessa, hey, long time no see, Tessa. Tessa is a mother, and she has a husband, and they're trying to get their child back. And she's up in Northern California. And I welcome you back. I'd like to hear what the latest is on Tessa. You see, my room has a lot of regulars that come back. There's about 25 to 50 of you that off and on will come back over the year and over the months and so forth and try to help others in this room and give me an update. I've had some great updates from some people who've been very successful. Then there's others that thought they were going the right direction that fell apart. It's like a roller coaster ride in CPS. Not all entities are bad, but there's a lot of them. I've talked to over 1,000 people, and from all walks of life. It seems like they have something in common, including myself. They're low income, and they may be low income due to the loss of a job, or they have a hiccup in life, or something along those particular lines. If somebody's well-to-do, CPS doesn't usually go after them because they know they'll get a lawyer, a professional lawyer, a juvenile law, family law, dependency lawyer that has fought CPS. So they try to stick to people that are going through rough times. Especially they're hitting people now with the advent of the hurricane and the flooding and the raining that would happen on the West Coast, and people lost their homes, and they're after them because they say they're taking too long to build a home or find a new home. Same thing is happening with the fires in California where people lost their homes. So, well, Tess, I hear you're still fighting. For some of you that may not know, Tessa, has seizures. It's normal. It's all part of life. And her husband knows how to help her and restrain her from hurting others and hurting herself. Well, apparently, someone observed her husband attacking. They thought they were attacking the wife, and then that's why CPS was called, because they have a young child, and they think that she's not fit to take care of her child because of her seizures. But she has access to a doctor, and the last time I talked, she's going to have the doctor testify that her seizures is what caused her to do the fit, and her husband was not doing anything wrong. Now, she says now, good news is the judge is against immediate adoption. The judge told the CPS attorney to make a new deposition report with adoption not as the main option. Well, that's good to hear, Tessa, but you still have to enter that doctor. The doctor's got to testify in court. Also, you said there was a sheriff who did a well check and he can support that you're fine and stuff. You need those individuals. And the man that allegedly said that you had hurt, the husband was hurting you, he said he did not say that, you said, and he should be in court too. You need to bring them all three in there. So, Tessa, I hope you're still planning on that. I know you're trying to use a court appointed attorney, which is a big mistake. Hello, Brandy Lee. So glad to hear from you. Have you had a chance? And welcome, Brandy Lee. Now, you said you were supposed to meet with Mr. Davis again last night, and we called, and we still haven't connected. Oh boy, that's not good. That's not good. I'm well. Have you made arrangements to do what happened last night? Were you trying to, was he not show up? Was he not show up? Um, yes. Hello, Royal. I forgot where you're from. I think you've been on my show before. Have you talked on my show or been a guest on my show, Royal? Have you talked to them or been on my show? Now, I know that the Facebook comments don't show up in this room here, so I'm putting that one up for Brandy Lee. Now, Brandy Lee, hopefully you made arrangements to have another talk with Vincent Davis. That's important. They won't pay for it. I don't have the ability to. What does you mean they won't pay for it? I don't understand what you mean, Tessa. The deposition should be provided by the agency. They're the ones making you accusations. The agency should pay for the deposition. Don't don't let them try to intimidate you. Otherwise, as I said, Royal Money, I need to know more information. You need to tell me. Were you a guest on the podcast, or did you call in? Did you call in? Um, I assume you're talking about the deposition they won't pay, Tessa. Tell me more. He didn't show up. Well, you need to get a hold of my show producer. Her name is Grace, and you got to email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Tell him you had a meeting, showed up with Mr. Davis, and he didn't show. So it's very important that you get a hold of my show producer to set that up, Brandy, to set that up. Now, Tessa says, unfortunately, I have an attorney that was provided by the court, and her boss won't provide the funds for my physical witness. Okay, you don't need money to get people to come to court. If the doctor will come on his own, then you don't have to subpoena him. But if you subpoena the guy, they have to show up. And again, subpoena, they should pay for that. They should pay for it. Don't let them talk you around. But your doctor should be able to show up. He should be able to do that. Now, I just told Royal how you can get a consultation with Mr. Davis. Again, you have to either call in to this podcast or be a guest on my show, and then I can arrange it, Royal. Also, where are you from, Royal, and what was about your case? What was about your case? Because you still haven't got a hold of me? Okay. To be a guest on this podcast, and I'll put that up right now since you're talking about that. All you need to do is contact my show producer. Her name is Grace, and it's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. You just tell her what day and what time you want to be on my show. I have 14 shows a week. You can say morning show, afternoon show, or evening show, and then Monday through Sunday. You just pick the date. And she'll arrange it. She'll send you a link and set you up. That's how you can be a guest on my podcast. Now, you don't need to get a hold of me to be a guest on my podcast. Now, if you want to call in, all you need to do is call my number. I'll put that up too. You just call that number 626-698-0990, and you can talk on my podcast. when you call in or you're a guest on my show, you qualify for a 15-minute private Zoom meeting with Mr. Davis. For 15 minutes, a private Zoom meeting from Mr. Davis. And Brandy says, yes, I was on yours and have talked to Grace. Yes. Okay, good. I know you're on, Brandy. I know you on that. All you need to do is you need to talk to Grace and set up another time. Tell him that Vincent didn't show up. Okay. He's usually pretty good about that. So I'm surprised. Hello, Margaret, and welcome. Margaret King is from St. Louis, Missouri, and she's actually hired Mr. Davis, and they're fighting a case. Margaret says, good morning, Bob. My witness were subpoena. Okay, good. They appeared and they were not allowed to take the stand. Did Vincent put a thing about that? Why were they not allowed to stand? Why were they not allowed to stand? And what did Mr. Davis say? What did Mr. Davis say? Tessa says, refusing to pay for my therapist was over $1,000, and each sheriff officer was $275 each, and the doctor didn't say what his price was. First of all, $1,000 is highway robbery, Tessa. You need to have that attorney do the subpoena right. If you don't have the funds in your low income, you can qualify for assistance there. And you don't have to pay a sheriff or pay a therapist or pay your doctor to appear before you to testify. It's called a simple matter of doing a subpoena. If people are demanding money, they're not good witnesses because they're being paid. You don't want to pay someone money to testify on your behalf. You want them to come on your free will. And again, you need to talk to your court-appointed attorney. If you're going to use a court-appointed attorney, you make them work for it. You tell them, look, if you do not, and I think you're one of the people that said when you talked to Mr. Davis, he said the same thing. You tell him that you will charge him with neglect, that attorney, and that you report him to the bar at the state level. Tessa, California and Sacramento, report him to the bar that he's not performing. You can do that. Margaret says they weren't even allowed to the courtroom. I don't understand that. What did Mr. Davis? Well, he handled it. Okay, all right. So I can't believe you have Mr. Davis. The people should be in the courtroom and should be allowed. What justification they say that they weren't allowed? Who said that? Was that the judge? Was that the judge? Now, I'm talking to various people in here, and one thing I like to say is that if you're going to text and messages, either a comment or a CPS or a question about CPS, a CPS comment or CPS question, then text it in, but please show me your first name, your city, or your county and the state. And if you're from another country, please show me your country. Now, I have 21 countries that have texted in or called into this live stream. I've had Indonesia, Bangladesh, then I have India, then I have Saudi Arabia and Libya, and then I have over in Africa, Liberia, and then Sudan, Rwanda, Mozambique, and two provinces in South Africa. Then up to Europe, I've had England, Scotland, and Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond in North America, I've had Canada with 4 provinces. The United States, all 50 states, including District of Columbia. And then I've had in south of the border of Mexico. And then in South America, I've had Grenada. And then in the South Pacific, I've had New Zealand. And the 21st one is Australia from 2 states down there. So it's a well-diversified group of people had. So that is really important there. So yeah, CPS cannot direct who appears in court. You've got to shut CPS up. They don't have a leg on the attorneys. They have to do it through the judge. If they don't want a subpoena, they got to have a good reason. And I know Mr. Davis will make sure that your witnesses show up, Margaret, because that's just stalling times. CPS is corrupt. CPS is corrupt. And they're giving you a thing there. Also, Tessa, the people that tell you there's money involved, that's wrong. They do not. You know, if you subpoena someone, you don't have to pay them to be there. You don't have to pay them to be there. Now, Brandy, I hope you get a hold of Grace and reschedule that time with Mr. Davis. I do apologize for not showing up. And Royal, if you want to have 15 minutes with Mr. Davis, either appear on my show as a guest or you can call in to my phone number. Now, I'll put my phone number back up again. And so I've already shown you what you can do and not do and so forth. Margaret says, I believe in my situation, everything happens for a reason. It was deemed that one of my witnesses wouldn't have been very credible anyway. Well, that's good. I mean, you can't have witnesses that are not credible. That's really important. You got to make sure the witnesses are on your side. You don't want to bring people that will hurt you. So make sure you use Mr. Davis, who's representing you. He's a good attorney. He's a good attorney. He's a fighter, and he will, make things happen. You're very, very good and very, very lucky, Margaret, to have Mr. Davis as your attorney. Now, what I'm doing is that I'm making sure that I'm addressing everybody in the room. I've already told you how to interact with this live podcast. I've told you about my show times and things like that. Now, I'm glad you're in this room. Hopefully, you're taking notes. Also, if you want to leave emojis, that's great. Thumbs up, smiley faces, hearts are wonderful things. Also, send me stars. Please check below if you want to follow me. And then also check the notification button if you want to know when I'm on. Yes, I'm glad to hear that, Margaret. He's your guardian angel. But don't have witnesses, they're not going to be for you. You got to have people there. So either when you call me or be a guest on my podcast, you get a free 15-minute private consultation with Mr. Davis. Further, if you want a longer time, I'm offering a $60 special for 30 minutes with Mr. Davis. That's 30 minutes for $60. All you have to do is go to the website that's scrolling across the bottom of my page, sign in with your credit card, pay the $60, and get that 30 minutes of private consultation with Mr. Davis. It'll be a Zoom meeting, but that would be good there. Unless you're close by, he does talk to you at the office. Now, he's in Arcadia. For some of you that don't know who Mr. Davis is, he was my attorney and got my children back. All but one. And that really wasn't his fault. But I hired him after much delay. I did the wrong thing. I think when you first time that you get involved with CPS, you need to get your attorney aboard. If you don't have an attorney, you need to find one. And my rule number one is very simple. You have to research the internet, which is my rule number 4. And it's very important you put the words right. So you want to put the city, the state, and if you're from out of the United States, you put the country. Then put the letters CPS. And I'll bring up a lot of things about CPS. If you want to refine that, then put in there, how do you file a 388 motion? What is a 160 hearing? How do I do a complaint? All the questions you may have, you can put that right after the words, the letters CPS. And you'd be surprised. But also, if you're trying to find an attorney, you start off after CPS, you need to find a juvenile law, family law, dependency, a lawyer who has fought CPS. And when you talk to them, it's very important you ask them 2 questions. The first question is, are you a licensed professional juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney who has fought CPS and gotten children back? If the answer is yes, you proceed to the next question. After the case is closed, have you ever done a lawsuit against CPS and won money back? If the answer is yes, you know that person is a pit bull of attorney. You want them because it's very difficult to do a lawsuit against CPS. Now, Vincent Davis does it all the time. He's won millions of dollars. He's got back over thousands of children back to their families. So he's the real deal. And, that's the kind of person that you need to do. You need to find at least 3 candidates for attorney, interview all 3, see how the chemistry works, see how much the retainer is, and that'll determine which you pick. But you should do that within the first week of your involvement with CPS, because if you didn't answer them and didn't talk to them, they'll be out again. So what you need to do is get that attorney aboard real fast, and that way you can tell the CPS you need to talk to my attorney. So that's why it's really, really important. It's really, really important. Let me see here. Thank you, Margaret. Now, I've lost some of you that stopped texting. I haven't heard furthermore from Tessa or from Royal Money. And I want to help you, and Brandy Lee. I have 4 of you in this room, and I want to help you. This room is interactive, and it's where you ask a question, and I help you. And it helps me to help you with your case. Now, I've been married for over 43 years or 42 years. I have marriage experience. Plus, I've had experience of raising 6 children. Oldest is in their 40s, and then I have 3 in their 30s. I have 2 in their 30s, and then I have 3 younger ones that my youngest being 19. He just turned 19. And then I have a 25-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 25. Unfortunately, one of the children is still missing. What I mean by missing, it's a horrible experience when they take you CPS. They hounded me and my wife, for a total of 5 years with false allegations. I had them to my house. I told them everything, and they would tell me there's a new one reporting. What I didn't know, it was a family member. It was my wife's mother, father, her three sisters or brothers were calling in once a week, making up stories that weren't true. They never were supportive when we got married a long time ago. They were never at the wedding. They always wanted our children. And my wife and I have had, these beautiful children. They're in beautiful schools, in a beautiful home. But CPS ruined all that. In fact, we lost our daughter due to retaliation by the CPS worker because she was caught committing perjury on the stand. She lied under oath. She lied really bad time. And she was embarrassed and left the courtroom, but then she told his parents, "You'll never see your daughter again." And so what she did, she orchestrated and coached her daughter to get emancipated at the age of 12. That means divorce from your mother and father, ones that raised you for 12 years, that were there when you were sick and down and sad or whatever. They're always behind you and always unconditionally love you. But what that social worker did is she convinced our daughter, who was 12 at the time, to divorce her parents, divorce everybody, aunts, cousins, her three brothers, her two sisters, everybody. She also was told to change her name completely. She had a beautiful middle name, Hanalei. That's a beautiful place in Kauai. She told that she would seal her birth certificate showing that she wasn't born of us, mom and dad. She got another birth certificate with her adopted foster parents. And I know for a fact that her foster parents were coaching her. This is sad when people sit there and destroy families. I don't know the foster parents. I imagine they're good people. I have nothing negative or positive to say about them. I know that they made $250,000 combined income, so they were doing very well off. They didn't need the money from social services or from the CPS organization. So anyway, she's gone. She was adopted. She got a new birth certificate. Her foster parents were put on it. And on top of that, she got a second Social Security card, and she was double dipping for my Social Security funds. She was taken. This was all put on by the social worker. This is all put on by her. And it's wrong because the Social Security knew that someone was using the money unneedlessly. I mean, it's my money. I had earned it over the course of working 60 years. And I had $2 million that are paid back to me in Social Security benefits. Not all at once, it comes out in dribbles. But that money that she was getting, she has a new Social Security, so she's getting it dumped twice. I think the Elon Musk should investigate. I know he's investigating social services. He should investigate the child protection system because they are corrupt. They are doing bad things. So anyway, it's very heartache to not have your child. I live it every day. She's alive. She's 22 now, but she wants nothing to do with her mom and dad. She does see her brothers. I encourage her brothers to see her. But that's all. That's all. So it's a heartache that I shed and I talk about it. It hurts every time. And not only that, I've lost so much because of CPS. I had to sell my home in a quick sale to get money to hire Mr. Davis. That home's gone. The home that I worked for 45 years is gone. So I'm telling you, you have to be careful. Not all CPS agents are bad, but the ones that are bad, you got to steer clear of them. Do not talk to social workers. Do not let them in your home. Do not let them take your children. They have to have a court order. It's called a warrant to take your child, to come into your home, to talk to you. Don't talk to them. They'll use that against you. I did the mistake by talking to them. I was open and honest and thought by being open and honest, they respect me, but they don't. They make up lies, lies after lies after lies. Now, my rule number 3 that I was talking about by not letting them in your home, it's so important not to answer the door. Too many people have been shot point blank and killed because of a mistaken home that they were searching, the police were searching. So if you hear a knock at the door, don't open the door. Because it could be the police, it could be a stranger trying to find out what you have inside your house and come back later and steal from you, to find out if you're a single person. There's so many reasons. You're taught at an early age, do not talk to strangers. Why would you talk to a CPS person? Why would you talk to a policeman? They're not your friend. They're not your thing. Not all policemen are bad. Not all social workers are bad. But there's enough of them that makes you gotta think twice. There's nothing wrong with not answering the door. When my son comes, he rings the doorbell 20 times. I mean, it's a flat ring, ring, ring. I know that's my son. And he's heard me talk about it on this live stream. So he uses that. So, in rule number 3, you don't talk to social workers. You don't let them in your home. If you encounter them outside, be courteous to them. But tell them you need to get a hold of your attorney first before you talk any further with them. He needs to be present. And by your constitutional rights, you are entitled to have legal representation at all steps of the way. So if you just had a case and they provide you a court attorney, which you not talked to beforehand, if he has time, he'll try to help you. But really, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So that is the thing is an easy way too. When you talk to the Surrey police, you just say, I need to have my attorney present. It's my constitutional rights. Anytime you're involved in the law, you're entitled to legal representation. And don't play into the hands about taking a court-appointed attorney. It's a waste of time. They're not trained in juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. They're only trained in criminal law. And they're just freshly new attorneys. It's a disgruntled job. And they also have 30 or more clients. CPS will keep them busy. So whether they come in your home or something like that. Now, this warrant, it's got to be signed with a wet signature. And it's got to be notarized, meaning that the thing's got to be put up. The stamp, they have a stamp that they press on, and the signature is risen, so you can't forge it. Be very careful with these warrants. A lot of them are reused by social workers. A lot of times, social workers will lie. They say they have a warrant, but they don't. Now, if you give them permission to come in your home, then you open up a can of worms. You don't give them permission to come into your home. And so I'm telling you, that you have to be careful. You have to be careful when you're dealing with CPS or the police because they'll lie. The police don't know the CPS laws or what to do or anything along that nature. The police, I hate to say it, they're supposed to protect and to serve, but there's a lot of bad police, as there are a lot of bad social workers. Now we've kind of like slowed down a little bit here, and I haven't heard anything further from Margaret or from Tessa or Brandy Lee or from Royal Money. Um, I don't know if you guys decided to be quiet and take notes, which is fine, which is fine. I'll continue to talk about my rules that will help you because if I did these things early on, I probably would never have lost my daughter. You see, I didn't get an attorney right away. I took the court appointed attorney because I couldn't afford a real attorney. That was a big mistake I made. That's probably the number one mistake. Because when you take a court appointed attorney, they don't talk to you. They don't have time to talk to you. They have 30 or more clients, so they don't even have time. They're not trained in juvenile law, family law, or dependency law, and they're only trained in criminal law. And they're not going to fight for your case. Now, I know there is people. There's a girl named Alex from Southern California that used a court-appointed attorney in San Bernardino County and the social workers, and she got her children. I'm not saying it's all absolute, but there's a lot of badness out there. There's a lot of badness out there. Hello, Lori Hiller. Welcome. Uh, Lori Hiller is from Canada, She's probably been the longest person in my podcast. I started first hearing from her back in October of 2023. And from 2023 into February 2025, she never spoke. She never talked or texted a comment. But I'm glad you did, Lori, because she too has a horrible case, but it's in Canada. She's a Canadian. And so welcome again to my room there. That is so nice. And thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, how can I help you, Lori? Is there a question you may have for me? I do remember you now. I do remember you. Now, if you do encounter these people, these policemen or social workers outside your home, tell them you're going to have your attorney meet with them. And do not meet at their office or your home. You meet at a public place like Starbucks or McDonald's to talk about your case. If you meet at their office and you have your children, they'll take your children. If you meet at the home, they'll try to find things because they don't have a complete case on you. So those are the two things you don't want to do. You don't want to do. Now, there's something called medical trafficking, and you got to be careful of medical trafficking. That's where you take your child with the urgent matter to urgent care or the after hours at the hospital, and you take them to the emergency room. There are social workers that are actually CPS social workers that work at those places that will interpretate things differently and then try to take your children away from you. Try to take your children away from you. And that is wrong. That is wrong. Furthermore, if you are a woman that's pregnant and going to have your child, they do the same thing. There has been sometimes people have told me where they barged in when she just had her child and tried to take the child. Again, you have to ask for that warrant, that piece of paper warrant. And it can't be a PDF file or a computer file. It has to be something that is written on paper, that's typed and prepared. It's a legitimate court document. Because you tell them, no, you're not taking my child. If you just had a child, you tell them to get out of there. Tell them that they need to have a warrant. But it's really sad that a mother goes to have a child and then suddenly she has to give her child right away. That's wrong. That's wrong. So that's my rule number 3, by the way. Don't talk to social workers. Don't talk to police. Don't answer the door. And watch the medical trafficking. Now, I talked about how to find an attorney, and that's so important that you do. But the second rule I have is called documentation, and that's really important to document everything. You need to have a notebook, and you need to have things organized in notebooks so you can find them. You need subject dividers, like 20 of them, and you need to create different kinds of subjects so you can find documentation. Now, there's a thing called an incident time log. That is a real important document you create. You want to track all your incidents, whether they're with the police, the social workers, or with a neighbor or the school. You want to track the incident. And you devote 3 lines to the incident. The first line is the number, the date, the time, the people you talked to, and the location. And then your second line is a summary of the incident, a 1-sentence summary. And then the third line is where you put the outcome. And if you don't know the outcome, come back to it later. Leave a space. And that's really important. But documentation is very important. You should document everything. This is sad because lay people do lie. They retaliate, and they do so because they don't like the way your yard's growing on their yard, or the dog barks too much or something, and they'll make up some story. And the CPS will come out and they don't even have children. That's how stupid some of these people are. So watch that, because they want to alienate you. They want to do revenge or whatever. The people are sick in this world. When a family struggled, and they're having a hard time with food on the table or clothing on their backs or places, shelter is warm. They should not be sitting there treating all people like they're bad or evil. CPS does not have the professional skills to deal with people. They don't. They're not transparent. They lie. That's what's so remarkable, that they lie. I used to think all the government agencies were truthful. I had no idea that government agencies were bad too. So I'm telling you, keep in mind with rules 1, 2, 3, and then rule 4 is research the internet. It's very important you phrase your words correctly. You want to put it so that the words are in such a manner that you can find what you're looking for. You start off with the city, and the city is a small city. Put a comma, put a large city next to it. That's close by. Like Athens, Georgia is a small city. But if you put Athens, comma, Atlanta, Georgia, then that will get a lot of results. Then after the state, you put down CPS, and you'll be amazed how much stuff will pop out about CPS. But if you want to find something particular in CPS, then you go ahead and type it in. Like, what is the ICWA 1978 Act about? How do I file a 388 motion? Or what is the 160 hearing? So this information may be looked up. So when you research, spend 60 to 80 hours, 60 to 80 hours so you get the information really right. And lastly, rule number 5 is that you need to make copies of documents. Put them in an envelope. Have them with your notebook. These documents are like marriage certificates, your children's birth certificates, your children's social security cards, not the physical copies of all this. You don't have to put the originals there. And then you want to put your driver's license and things that are important, like the shot cards, the shot records of your children, any kind of special medical needs. Anyway, you put all that copies in an envelope so you have it handy, and you have it with your notebook that will grow and get bigger as day goes by. So those are my 5 rules, and I wish I had used them with my case, because I don't think my children would have been taken from me. They were stolen. There was nothing physically damaged them. They were in school when they were taken. They were at a private high school. One of them was. Another one was at a public middle school. And the other one was at a public elementary school, who happened to be with me because I went and picked them up. So I'm telling you, have those documents important. Do those 5 rules. You'll find out there. Whatever you do, you don't want to give up. You don't want to say it's impossible to get your child back. It's very, very, very important. Now, with that being said, I'm getting close to my 11 o'clock time that I need to shut down the room. And this live podcast will end, but that doesn't mean you won't be able to see me. You can see me tonight at 7 p.m. tonight. 7 p.m. You can see me tonight. And I love to see you. I love to see you there tonight to help you. I hope, Margaret, that you follow Mr. Davis's advice in fighting your case. He is an excellent attorney. Tessa, don't let them intimidate you. You have to pay money. Tell them you're low income. Research it on the internet. I will look and see if it's required to pay witnesses to speak in a CPS case in California. Now, Brandy, Leah, please get that meeting with Grace set up again with Mr. Davis. It's very important that you do so. Roll Money, I haven't heard back from you. You say you want a consultation with Mr. Davis. There are several ways you can. You can do it by just calling in my show or being on my as a guest, and you get 15 minutes free. Or if you want to spend $60, you can do 30 minutes at that website that I have there. So do so there. Okay? So with that being said, I want to tell you all, thank you for joining me. I hope you're able to get something that I shared with you. Please, do not stop fighting for your child. It's so important. God bless you. And this is Bob Pace signing off, and I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.